Welcome, everyone. I want to say for everyone from the U.S., hello. Anyone of my Spanish people here, bienvenidos. Italian, everyone, so thank you. I'm going to get this started. So I'm here to talk about how Flutter can change the future of urban communities. And I'm going to do a presentation, basically a project-based presentation about how this can be, how this can happen. So who am I? I'm Edward Thornton. I'm a software developer. I've created apps for companies, individuals, things like that. I'm also a best-selling author. I grew up in California in the middle of the desert, and I moved to St. Louis when I was maybe in middle school. So it was kind of a culture shock growing up, like going from the desert to an urban environment. But living here in St. Louis has got me involved in several social causes. The Ferguson riots, for instance, was a major catalyst that made me want to develop some of the apps that I've worked on, and I'm going to show you guys one of them right now. Let me bring this up. Bear with me on anything that may like blackouts, anything like that. So, kind of new at this. All right, so let me pull up this quick time. And while I'm doing this, I want to talk about how easy Flutter is. It's one of the main reasons why people use Flutter, because of the ease of use. So I'm going to highlight that momentarily. Okay, here's Loop, and I want to show you some of the things that Loop has helped out, like during the different protests, not just here in St. Louis, but also around the world. What I did using Flutter was I created an app in which it allows users to, and strangely it's called Loop. You know, like I know this strange Loop, so I had this before actually, this conference, but it's strangely called Loop. But I'll give you an example of what you can do with Loop. I'll make a post about here. Festival. Now, what is really made for is it's made to inform people about how to, be safe in their areas, and also how to combat crime and just for safety issues. So if I was to put the same incident in this area at 3 times, it would actually highlight on the map. Strange loop. I'm gonna give you guys a demonstration here. And I actually put a lot of different categories here, if you can see, just like different, even stuff that probably don't make no sense, but when I was doing it all made sense. And this is just like to keep people safe in their communities. And I've used this in several different communities, which I'll show you in a second. So I just made a post 3 times. Now I can go to the map, and right now there's nothing showing up, but in 1 second here, it should populate. But while I'm doing that, I want to show you how people all over the world were able to benefit from this technology. Like recently in Nigeria, and if anybody's in from Nigeria, I just want to say Kabosa. They had a whole SARS and police brutality thing. A lot of people took to my app to, protest and just talk about how they can, coordinate everything. So I was actually happy to be a part of that. So let me see. Okay. So now as you see, if you look at the map from the 3 incidents that I showed, it pretty much highlights it, and it shows the loop of the area to highlight, okay, something is going on in this area. Some areas, they don't have like access to like fast police service. So just having something like this, like I put up a category of car fire, that would really help a community. I'm sorry about that. That would really help a community when it comes down to policing and self-policing. So let's get back to this. I might come back to loop later. Okay, so what is Flutter? Flutter is an open source cross-platform toolkit that helps developers build native interfaces. Now, since Flutter 2.2, you can now develop with Android, iOS, Linux, Windows, and web. And it basically helps you by using one code base to compile to all native applications. And that's what Flutter is. And Flutter was created in 2017 and launched by Google. A lot of people found out I was doing the Flutter thing, and a lot of people have been asking me, do I work for Google? And the answer is no. So Flutter consists of two important parts. A SDK, which is a collection of tools that help you develop your applications. This includes tools that help you compile the code into the native languages, and also a framework, a user interface library built based on widgets. And those widgets you can put together to create almost any type of application on different type of screens. Here are the benefits and loopholes of Flutter, the SDK. One, it has express development. So the express development is more like you can develop really fast with really fast with Flutter. And that's what I think one of the main reasons why I think it'll be very useful for urban communities. During the fast-paced hustle and bustle of how people move, I think that a framework that allows you to get the deployment time cut down is like very useful. It's flexible and it has an expressive user interface. The presence of a modern reactive framework. You have access to native app features, which is something that wasn't really quite captured in the past by a lot of different cross-platform frameworks. Loop, it gets really close to those native features, which makes the apps run more smoothly on different type of devices. And it has a unified app development, which you can use one code base to change up every different device you need. These are widgets. So I'm gonna give you an example of, I created something here. I created a lot of things for this, so bear with me on this. This is a Flutter Lab. When I was trying to run this at home, it was taking a long time, so I decided to go on the web, and I created just a small app. I actually did it this morning, so that could show you how fast that Flutter works. If this wants to cooperate. While this is working here, I'm going to talk more about these widgets. So with the Flutter widgets, it's more like the same way widgets have always been, but with Flutter, you can use those and compile them together on top of each other, stack them in containers, and make just different type of apps, different type of anything that a screen, anywhere that you can have screen, you can use a Flutter, and it helps with that very much. What's going on here? Okay. What's going on here? I want to show you guys how to use the hot reload, which is a key feature of Flutter that a lot of people rave about. So what I did with this, I just created just an app just based off the speakers. In fact, these were the guys that just left here. If anybody caught the presentation before this, they did a great presentation about client-side deep learning. I did some of the speakers before me here, and I think he speaks a little later, and of course, me, the man of the hour. Now, I want to show you guys how this hot reload works. I'm just going to change a few things here. So as you see, just from just that 1-2 changes I did, I changed the name and the color, that's like pretty much how Flutter works. It's really fast, it's really responsive. You can make changes in an instance, and it just really helps you along when you're trying to see exactly what you're doing. So let's get back to this. So here's the bulk of the speech. I'm going to talk about how Flutter can change the future of urban communities. I can go for a lot of different ways. 1 is the fast development time. 2 is truly cross-platform. 3 is easy to maintain and develop new features with Flutter. 4 is easy to adopt to new screen dimensions. And 5, and important to me when I first started, was that you can use Flutter to create your startup MVPs really fast and quickly. So first we're going to talk about the fast deployment time. As I just showed you, the hot reload and just different things of that nature is one of the biggest advantages of using a Flutter application. It's a cross-platform solution in which you can get apps out really quick using a single code base. And a lot of developers love that, especially businesses. So when you want to really get it going. So the truly cross-platform nature of Flutter is what makes it very appealing. So let me talk more about that and dive into that. It has a single code base for every platform. It uses completely customizable widgets. So even with when you're doing the widgets, you can actually customize the widgets to suit your needs. So if you can have it like something that's big, you can make it small. It's a lot of different things you can do with Flutter. It comes with great learning resources. The Flutter community is very expansive and it's growing every day. And it's a lot of people in there to help you. If you need help, you can always reach out. It's Facebook groups with over 200,000 people in it. It provides a great development experience. So when you're developing with Flutter, you get the good experience of having a wide, great learning resources, but also many different experiences as far as like they have Flutter meetups here in St. Louis and also all over the world. It's a low development cost. If you're doing let's say a typical thing where you have to have 2 or maybe even 3 different type of code bases, it runs up the price and you got to hire more developers or things like that. But with Flutter, you can actually just work with maybe 1 or 2 developers and just get the whole code base going. And it's actually really suited for MVPs and startups because of just everything mentioned beforehand. So I'm going to talk about how it's easy to maintain the new features of Flutter. So basically, after you've published an app with Flutter, then you can start working on trying to promote your app and gain a user base, as opposed to different apps of the past different programs of the past where you have to definitely have a major concern about secondary issues pertaining with bugs and things like that. With Flutter, it helps you just keep everything singular and just be able to move forward. Okay. Also, Flutter is easy to adapt to different screens. That's one of my favorite things about Flutter. It doesn't matter what type of screen dimension you have. You can have an iPhone, you can have a television screen. They're making them now with the Windows, with the Macs, with the Linux. So whatever screen that you need, Flutter actually conforms to that screen. And it actually conforms right away. So it's easy to do that. It's actually with a touch of a button. So that's great to know that almost any screen that you have, you can upload a Flutter, even old screens. Like I seen someone with a very old TV putting the Flutter app into use on it. So it's kind of amazing with that, by the way. So in the future, it will be, with the release of Flutter 2.2, they actually had put it to where now you can do desktops and just web apps. At first you couldn't do web apps. When I first started, you could only do mobile apps. Now you can do web apps with the mobile apps, and they all still compile to the same code base. Right now, As far as the support for the web apps, it's kind of lackluster, but in the future, they're going to be working on that, and I expect it to be really good. Okay. Lastly, I wanted to talk about how you can use Flutter to create your startup MVPs. Well, I'm not sure how many people here are interested in that, but when I first started, I was really interested in how Flutter helped me as a person that was, having a startup by myself and needed just a single code base to work and just be able to do it myself. And Flutter actually helped me out a lot because it was able to take what I had and just, get it out there in time, get it out there running, which helped me out a lot. The code works on all of the big devices, eliminating the need for multiple apps and devices. Also, to note, the performance of Flutter is on par with most native apps, which makes it an ideal choice when you want to start up your MVPs. It's also, okay, wait a minute. So, yeah. So, I want to do something else here. Because I'm actually wanted to show you guys how this could possibly even quicker than that, right? Because if that wasn't quick enough, then I want to show you guys this Flutter Flow example. I actually created another strange loop app, this time with a thing called Flutter Flow. This makes it even easier, and I can actually just run down a different thing. This actually was just created. It was created by some people in Ethiopia. I actually wanted them to, do a video so I can play it here, but they told me no, so yeah, that didn't work out, but I'm gonna run this real quick to just show you guys how. When it comes to making mobile apps, Flutter is really fast. It's really something that just helps out a lot when just pushing stuff out. I've done plenty of apps with Flutter, and yeah, they all are very good, actually. Okay, maybe I'm doing this. Well, I'm not sure what's going on with this. So, yeah, but basically I made another app with Flutter, and it just using the Flutter Flow framework, which actually breaks Flutter down even easier. So I actually left a flyer on everyone's seat, and I have a bunch of projects there. These Flutter Flow projects are actually amazing, and I actually broke down how to use the Flutter Flow in the book, and also just start a bunch of different other Flutter projects. Stuff like this happens. I even saw not Bill Gates, but I seen this happen to Steve Jobs once, so I don't really feel too bad. Yeah, I'm gonna just take this off. That's crazy, because it actually is like a really, really good tool to use to learn Flutter and to move forward with Flutter. So, in conclusion, I want to just say that me personally, from my experience using Flutter, I really think that it's a great tool, and it moves like the city moves. It moves fast, it moves responsive, and I could just really see it really taking off in different areas. I actually put a map here of where it's actually taking off at. Oh, okay, maybe I didn't. I think I took it off. But it's moving forward in countries that you probably wouldn't expect, like different countries like Brazil, Puerto Rico, all across Africa and Arabia, countries where you wouldn't really think that people would be using programming languages and mobile application frameworks, but that's exactly what's going on. So I really think that Flutter is ideal for urban communities, and moving forward, I think that it'd be a great way to start programming with beginners. So thank you, appreciate it.